Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome back to our free tarot course. Today, we're going to talk about the Knight of Pentacles. So, imagine all the tarot cards as people that you meet in your life. The Knight of Pentacles is the reliable person you can always count on. So, when the Knight of Pentacles is in the upright, this is the good stuff. Think of this person as the one who shows up and gets the job done. They're not a big talker or a show off. They may be quiet, focused, and hardworking. The Knight of Pentacles is incredibly patient. They know that good things take time. They aren't looking for a quick fix or a get rich quick scheme. They are the person who will save money little by little to buy a house someday, not the one who buys lottery tickets hoping to win big. They keep their promise, or the Knight keeps its promise. If they say they will do something, they will do it. You can trust them completely. The Knight of Pentacles is practical and down to earth. They aren't a dreamer with their head in the clouds. They think about real world things, money, security, and building a comfortable life. Loyalty and commitment. In a relationship, this person might not bring you flowers every day, but they'll be there for you through thick and thin. They build a stable and secure foundation for a partnership. So in a nutshell, the upright Knight of Pentacles is about slow, steady progress, hard work, and building something that will last. So with every positive, there's a negative. So let's look at the reversed Knight of Pentacles, the not so good stuff. So when this card is in reverse, it shows the downsides of the same personality. It's like the reliable person has gone off track. This person may be lazy or unmotivated. The work has stopped. They might be putting things off or just not caring anymore. They could be irresponsible. They're not following through on their promises. They might be a bit of a drifter, not committed to anything or anyone. The Knight in reverse can talk about someone who's too slow or stuck in a rut. They've become so cautious that they never get anything done. They might be stuck in a boring routine and afraid to try anything new. They could be obsessed with money. Their focus on security has turned into greed for possessions. They might be so wrapped up in work and money that they neglect their friends, family, and their own happiness. Boring. The stable, predictable nature has become dull and lifeless. There's no spark or excitement left. So the reverse Knight of Pentacles is a warning sign about being lazy, stuck, or so focused on the material world that you miss out on something else. So the Knight of Pentacles is a great reminder that success isn't always about being fast and flashy. Sometimes it's about putting your head down, doing the work, and being the person everyone can depend on. But let's go even a little deeper. So let's talk about the Knight as an archetype, the fire of earth. In the tarot, the Knights represent the elements of the suits in their action. They are the fiery aspects of the element, the drive and energy. So, for example, the Knight of Wands is the fire of fire, pure, impulsive, passion. The Knight of Cups is the fire of water, emotional, romantic, action. And the Knight of Swords is the fire of air, intellectual, swift action. So the Knight of Pentacles is the fire of earth, the drive to create, build, and manifest in the physical world. This is the key concept. His fire isn't a flash of inspiration, it's the smoldering, steady heat of the kiln. It's the heat that transforms clay into a solid vessel. This is why his action is so slow and deliberate. It's about a deep, sustained effort, not a sudden burst of energy. He represents the kind of motivation that endures, the kind that shows up every single day to do the work. So the Knight of Pentacles and the Fool's Journey. Think of the Fool's Journey. The story told really by the major arcanas. The Knight of Pentacles represents a specific stage in that journey, a time of integration and groundedness. The Fool, full of dreams, encounters the Emperor. Interesting, I was talking about the Emperor, which is structure, and the Hierophant, which is tradition. The Knight of Pentacles is the embodiment of these lessons applied to the physical world. He's the student who took the practical advice of the Hierophant and used the Emperor's principles of structure to build something real. He's just not holding this pentacle, which, by the way, is potential for wealth or security. He's actively engaged with it. He's not simply thinking about, let's say, a farm. He's tilling the soil. This is the stage where the grand ideas and spiritual revelations of the major arcanas are brought down to earth and made more tangible. So the knight as a messenger, like in a tarot spread. So in a reading, the knights are often seen as messengers. What does the Knight of Pentacles bring? A slow down message. He may be telling you that you're rushing things. Stop and take a methodical approach. Don't skip any steps. He could also talk about a stick with it type of message. He could be a reminder that your hard work is not in vain, even if it feels like it's taking forever. The payoff is coming, but you have to stay dedicated. A trust the process message. He embodies the trust that if you do the work now, the results will follow. The universe or life will reward your effort. You don't need to see the end from the beginning. You just need to keep working. So let's talk a little bit about the shadow side of the Knight of Pentacles. So that would be reversed. His powers turn against itself. The overburdened knight. His horse is heavy and he is labored. In the reverse position, this can symbolize feeling overwhelmed or burdened by responsibility. Reminds me of the Ten of Wands. You're doing the work, but you've lost the passion for it. It feels like a chore, a heavy weight you just can't put down. There could be a lack of purpose. He is so focused on, and again, this is in reverse. He is so focused on the how that he's forgotten the why. The reverse card can mean that you're going through the motions without a larger purpose. You're working hard, but for what? This can lead to a feeling of being stuck or a lack of fulfillment. There could be a fear of change. His love of stability becomes a crippling fear of change in reverse. He's so comfortable in his routine that he just can't adapt. This can show up as a person who resists new ideas, new jobs, or even new relationships because they represent a break from the familiar. This can be a material trap. The reverse Knight of Pentacles can represent someone who has become a slave to their possessions. They may work endless hours just to acquire more, forgetting that true security and happiness comes from within, not from what you own. So the Knight of Pentacles as a person, if this card represents a person, think of them as the rock. They are the person who, and of course this is in the upright, they're the person who is a solid presence in your life. You know that they'll be there for you, even if they aren't the most exciting person in the room. The builder, they aren't just a planner. They are the one with the hands in the dirt, actually building the house or planting a garden. They believe in the power of tangible creation. The slow burn success story. In the world of overnight sensations, they're the ones who quietly and consistently build a successful business, a happy home, and a meaningful life over many years. By understanding these deeper levels, the elemental force, the place in the journey, and the archetype meaning, we see that the Knight of Pentacles is much more complex and powerful figure than just the hard worker. He is the symbol of the profound and often uncelebrated power of patience, diligence, and grounded action. So this is our Knight of Pentacles. Now, what I want you to keep in mind is, I often feel in my readings, and I think it's important, because I find one thing in my reading, like trust your own intuition, but I often feel the Knight of Pentacles in the upright is also a spirit guide. And this spirit guide is just keeping an eye on things. Like, I feel the Knight of Pentacles comes at exactly the right time. Not before and not after. Exactly when I know that you can use this pentacle and really build success for yourself. So that's why the timing is so important. Think again, like if it was reversed and then this pentacle came in. Well, if I have this lazy attitude, I may use this pentacle for something that really will bring no benefit to my life. And that's why I really feel like the Knight of Pentacles comes at the right time. And again, I definitely feel the Knight is connected to the spiritual world, mainly a spirit guide or a guardian angel. So I love it when the Knight of Pentacles shows up in a reading. I do know that sometimes it just wants us to slow down, smell the roses, but then not be afraid of planting that seed, nurturing that seed, and then eventually seeing the fruits of your labor. This is just a little extra of how I feel with the Knight of Pentacles in many readings. Again, one of my favorite cards. So this is our Knight of Pentacles. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to add. Well, I guess what I would say, because this is a tarot course, when the Knight of Pentacles comes out, you definitely want to look at the card before it and the card after it, that gives you a clue. Like, okay, what is the Knight trying to tell me? So if we remember, the Knight is mainly bringing us a pentacle. What's the potential with this pentacle? Again, if I come at the right time, then, especially if it's used for business, I feel like it's representing the potential of real success. I also feel often it can represent like talents that you already have, but maybe you haven't used yet. Or maybe you don't realize you even have them. And, it's like, it reminds me of when I started painting. I never painted in my life, but something, I was like, paint, Sandy, paint. So I started painting, and I had to learn, right? It took me time, but then I got to the point where people wanted to actually buy my paintings. So that's what I would call the slow burn, right? Learning, experimenting, and then eventually seeing the fruits of my labor. So again, one of my favorite nights. I would love to hear your comments. Like, I know different readers will look at the same card in different ways, and I think that's fine. As long as one is paying attention to their intuition, um, I don't see a problem with that. I know there's many times when I do a reading, even if, like the card tells me, well, this is the meaning, but everything around it is telling me something different. I'm going to trust my intuition. I'm going to trust my intuition. Um, and it's always what I want you to do when you enter a reading. Trust your intuition above all. So anyways, here's our Knight of Pentacles. Love him or her, whoever they may be in our life. And again, I do want you to think also of the Knight of Pentacles again as like a spirit guide. I feel like when you look at it from that point of view, you understand why why it moves slow. It's not really that it moves slow. I often feel much like temperance. It's just waiting for us, to get to the perfect place, or let's say to put out those affirmations. I am ready. I am ready. And then the Knight says, well, that is my time to show. That is my time to come in. So I'm going to let that be. I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to let that be. So this is our beautiful Knight of Pentacles. I will see you. We did the Knight of Cups, which was so interesting. Now we have the Knight of Pentacles, so let's do the Knight of Wands next. So I will see you at the Knight of Wands. I love you. Bye-bye.